Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Shanevivor podcast. Today, we'll be discussing episode 5 of Shanevivor season 13, Trials of Olympus. This episode saw Spencer voted out in a 4-3 vote, yet another fan favorite player to follow right after the Jules vote. I'm joined today by my co-host, Aiden.
Yeah, pom pom.
Yeah, but you guys don't want to be stuck with just us two, so please welcome our guest star for this episode, Kira.
Hi, how are you guys?
Hello. Yes, but before we begin, I have a final statement to read from Spencer. I'll now read it now. Nate, you were my favorite, and I'm sorry if drama kind of blew up in your face, but I needed to bring some entertainment because the rest of the flops on the Tartarus tribe are bringing nothing. You keep crushing it, though. Dania, I spread the lie to Jules that you wanted her out, so to be honest, I'm not mad at you for getting me out. I had it coming. At least I made some drama before leaving. Pom Pom, bye. Don't you dare call me delusional because you just sit there the whole challenge, blank doing nothing, and then you want to have the most lit for tribal. Keep floating to the end. That being said, your gameplay is still somehow better than the others in the tribe, so respect. Teddy, bye. You were dry from the beginning, but your gameplay is even worse. Talk about sitting there and not doing anything, and then throwing my name around like, please be an interesting player because it's getting boring. Flower, I liked you and I didn't want to vote you, but my alliance was, and so I had to. I understand why you voted me. Gabby, you're an active, but also an unproblematic queen. Good luck. I definitely played a messy game, but at least I was ready to make moves and stir the pot, unlike the majority of Tartarus trying to float to the end. Also, I'm surprised Nate stuck with me that long because, being honest, I would have flipped in his position. P.S. Maybe next time y'all should try in the comp instead of letting me do the majority of the heavy lifting. Thank you, Spencer. So now that we've read his final words, it's time to get into the general discussion of the podcast. So I say we just dive right in. So, starting off with question 1, there are several factors that led to Spencer being the person that was sent home. Whether you think that's Spencer trying to target Teddy, spreading lies about what parchment they had for the Gabby vote, or having very open fights with Dania. But to you two, which of these factors do you think contributed the most to Spencer going home? Or Aiden.
I wouldn't say that any necessarily one factor led to him going home. I do think that all three of them is what ultimately, obviously, led to him going home. But I feel like, obviously, stealing a vote or a parchment, and then being like, this is mine. Whenever somebody else knows, like I made that, you shouldn't do that. But at the same time, publicly or openly fighting with people is also a very big threat to have. But at the same time, I don't feel like everybody always gets targeted for that because I know you didn't watch season 7, but M from season 7 openly fought with everybody and they made it to the final 3.
Probably
So
someone who would get no votes, but I didn't watch it, so maybe not.
they should have won,
Oh,
but
never mind.
we were a bitter jury.
No, you. What are your opinions, Kira?
I would definitely agree that it was a variety of factors, but from what I've seen in like orgs, and I haven't been in the org community for too long, but from what I've seen, definitely openly arguing with people I feel like isn't the best strategy because A, that just puts a huge target on your back, and B, that can also lead to a lot of people either distrusting you or just thinking that, oh, is this just going to lead to another argument and can I really have them as an ally with me down the line? So that can even lead to a lot of just not being able to really feel like if they can stay with you as an ally anymore, if that makes sense. So I feel like definitely a lot of public arguments can lead to a lot of people having distrust. That was seen just last season with Landino, and I feel like that played a huge part in the vote off in this particular situation.
Oh, yeah, no, I totally agree. Because, like you're saying, like, fighting is bad, and just, like, obvious. Like, I think it's obvious because you're burning bridges with people who could potentially be votes for you. and then you're completely severing that bridge by fighting with them to make them almost always be like, oh yeah, I'm fine to take so and so out, or just to take you out, because they fought with you. They have animosity towards you. They're not going to want to work with you in the future, and you're just limiting your options, which I never think is a great idea.
Exactly that. Like, I feel like it's just better to try and keep, even if you're not 100% wanting to be aligned with those people, just having a little bit of a good relationship. And even if, like, you want to go after them, or like, if they're lying to you and you have that information, you want to be a little bit more tactful about it and go towards it a little bit better than just calling people out in a setting that is public, in my opinion, because that can just lead to a lot of problems down the line.
Yes, and then obviously another big factor there was the original parchment, which we mentioned a little bit. That it was the fight between who made the parchment, Spencer or Dania, which almost everyone thinking it's Spencer. I think that also has a lot of big play. Which obviously, Aiden, you said it was a bad idea, and I agree with you there, because it just made everyone have the view of Spencer as a schemer, as a liar. Which, granted, Spencer was definitely a schemer and a liar and a player and trying to trick everybody, but having that vote definitely set the stage for him being displayed as a liar schemer to be voted out this tribal.
I agree. I mean, if I don't know if either of you watched me last season, but I think it was Jordan that I had, or it was Jordan or Lucy one, that I had put a heart and an ear on a parchment. That way, whenever they were voted out, because I knew they were going soon, I would be able to use that parchment, claim it was somebody else's, and then not have somebody be like, that's not yours because they're not in the game. I don't think you should just randomly go out and steal, a parchment. But if they're still in the game, or if they're out of the game, I mean, and as long as nobody knows that that's their vote, I mean, I don't really see an issue with doing it. But if you have to make sure that the person's vote you're stealing is not in the game.
Yeah, no, you definitely have to be very careful about it, because if it blows up in your face, then it blows up in your face. Yes. All right. So next big name that was out there, that tribal, was Nate. So he was exposed just really blatantly for just playing the middle, and for some reason, nobody actually wanted to take him out that tribal. What do you guys think the reason for that is?
I think it just boils down to there's bigger fish to fry. I mean, I just feel like Nate obviously Nate's a target. But looking at Spencer last tribal, I feel like Spencer was definitely the bigger threat. But coming soon, I don't think we'll see Nate go much further personally. But that's just my opinion.
No, I think Nate definitely is in a great spot, but another swap or a merge could definitely save him if there's any coming soon.
I mean, I'm gonna say this. I am rooting against Nate right now because it's me versus Dylan in the drafts, and I didn't draft Nate, and Dylan did.
Yes, I've said I'm rooting against Nate for other reasons. Yeah, what are your thoughts on this, Kira?
I'm going to be quite honest. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about Nate. I think he has a little bit of an air of superiority towards some of the other players, which I just don't know if I really like that. I understand the middle game and I understand playing it. However, he's been caught, and I feel like in that case, I feel like it was kind of, people should have gone after Nate, in my opinion, more than Spencer, because they could have gone after Spencer the next vote, in my opinion. Like, Spencer was someone that everyone knew they could have gone after them. They knew he was already called out. He had been seen in the way that he was. People already lost their trust in them. However, keeping someone like Nate in the game is a little bit dangerous in the fact that he is playing the middle game and he's able to go to both sides. And I feel like if he does make merge, he might be able to get even more people because he's talked about how he has people on the other tribe and he might even go towards those people on that tribe and might last longer. So I'm not quite sure if keeping him in the game and not going after him instead of Spencer was the right move in this case.
Yes, I agree with you here more than I agree with Aiden, because I was very surprised that Nate's name didn't come up. Yes, Spencer's a big target, but I thought Nate was a far bigger target than Spencer. So I was very shocked that nobody actually wanted to take Nate out.
I mean, I don't know. A lot of the times, what I've seen some people want to do, a lot of people want to do, is they want to take out the shield before they take out the target. Because once it's time to actually take that target out, you're not going, they might have a better social game, whatnot. They're not going to have that extra vote. If they could just be like, hey, these people are voting me, I need you to vote this person. But at the same time, I feel like Nate is going to start overplaying. Because, I mean, if you just look at his confessionals, he has been scrambling ever since Spencer was voted out. And he's bringing up stuff, such as Pom Pom said they would vote out Denia, or however you say it. That he knows he has Gabby, that he needs to flip Teddy and Denia back to his side. But if you look at the votes, most of these people are people that voted him. Or voted Spencer.
I mean, he has to try and do something, because obviously he's in the minority. He has to either try and just win challenges and survive till merge or swap, or flip people who voted him. So assuming that he doesn't win challenges and assuming they go to another challenge, I think he has to try and swap people back.
I agree, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to.
No, I'm not saying he's going to be able to 100%. He has a chance to for sure, but I'm not saying he shouldn't. I think he has to.
Right.
Yes. You said something and I was going to comment on it, but now I forgot what you said. Gosh dang it. Oh, yeah, no, you said how you like a lot of people take out the shield first. I don't fully get that, because you said there were a lot of issues with, we could take out the shield so they don't have their extra vote. But all of that is just avoided if you take out that big target threat that you guys want to take out. Taking out the people underneath them or their shields or above them, the shields first to get at the target, doesn't fully make sense to me, because obviously I'm someone who I like to keep big threats in the game, so I probably wouldn't take out Nate. But assuming it from a perspective of wanting to take Nate down a peg or to get at Nate a little bit, I think it would just make more sense to target him instead of targeting Spencer to get at him.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm just saying I feel like that's why they did it. I'm not saying I want or that I would do that. I would not do that. Or, I mean, Essence would have been out after Mal.
Yes. Anyone have any final things to say on about either Spencer or Nate or the tribal in general? That sounds all right. Then we're gonna move on to the next topic, which is the god visit of the episode. So this time we saw Andreas visiting the temple of Demeter. I think I'm saying that right. And then he had to play a guessing game. So it's just a guessing game challenge where he had to guess a number 1 through 5. 20% odds. If he gets the right number, he gets an extra vote. He ended up getting lucky and he got the extra votes, which, yes, obviously 20% got lucky. He did it. But this extra vote is, yes, it works the same as any old extra vote, but it's themed. It's Michaela's special extra vote that she always has to get lucky. But she's always voted out with it and doesn't really get to use it. So, do you think Andreas will be able to use his extra vote successfully to help his game, or will he be sent home with it in his pocket, just like Michaela has in seasons prior?
I always. Oh, sorry.
I'll let you go. I'll let you go. I went first last time.
Okay. I always have hope for players, so I'm just going to hope that they'll be able to use it and they'll use it correctly. That's just how I am. And hopefully it will just break the curse of always being sent home with it. I just hope that they'll be able to use it and we'll be able to use it correctly and not waste it or have to go home with it.
Yes,
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
now you, Aiden. Yes, sir.
I know I said earlier in the season, like this season, I want to see some more moves made and successfully made with some surprises. So I feel like all of these people, getting extra votes or even a steal a vote is going to make the season very, very interesting. And I'm so glad.
Yes, and for everyone who's listening right now, there are 3 advantages that are out right now. We have Ari, who has a steal a vote, Andreas has an extra vote, and then Flower has Hermes' birdcage, which could turn into something later in the future, but is currently right now another extra vote. So we have 2 extra votes and then birdcage 2 extra votes, one being a birdcage, and Ari's steal a vote that are in the game, just to keep track of advantages for all you people. Yes. Yes. And
I don't
obviously,
know.
yeah. Sorry, you go.
I'm I'm just glad to see, I want to see how people play more so with advantages rather than just, regularly. Because some of these people could really, they could rise up and shine or they could fall down and be walked all over. And then them thinking that they can still get out of this because, oh, I have an extra vote or I have a steal a vote. And I honestly can tell you that it's not the case. I thought that season 7 didn't play my advantage and I was voted out.
Oh
So I
yeah.
feel like some of these people are going to kind of overthink the power just based on how they're playing. They're going to overthink the power of just a simple extra vote. But at the same time, an extra vote can change everything. So I can't really say anything bad about the extra vote.
Yes. And then yeah. So I'm curious right now because we're talking a lot about strategy of extra vote a little bit. So just want to know from each of you first. I'll go Kira, you can start, but what exactly would be your game plan? Let's say you get an extra vote in the game. What would you like to do with it?
I would. So I've actually never had this advantage. As I said, still very
Yep.
new. So I would just really, as y'all know, I'm a very social player. So I would just gather what was going on socially. And if I had any kind of inkling or if I was given any kind of information that either A, I was going home or I thought one of my closest allies was going home, I would try to use that extra vote to either benefit me to where I could use it and use that extra vote to either A, tie the votes, or B, make it so that someone else would go home rather than me or the ally that I had so that neither one of us would go home, if that makes sense in that way. I
Yeah,
would
no.
use the social ability that and the social connections I had to hopefully play the vote correctly in that sense. And also, I wouldn't try to be afraid of using it early, but also using it correctly.
Yes. And then also, would you be trying to keep it a secret at first, or would you try to let other people know to try and improve your social connection with them? Because you said you're a very social player, but I don't know if that goes to revealing advantages or not.
So actually that kind of tied into my on my season I actually got 2 idols and I didn't tell anyone that I had 2 idols until about I think it was we were final 7 and that was when I told Kwoki because they expired at final 6 and Kwoki had they could steal a vote so we were trying to figure out how we would go about using the idols and the steal a vote to keep us both in the game. So I don't really at that point I decided not to tell anyone. So in this case I don't think I would tell anyone because I feel like that could put a target on my back.
Yes, I think I agree with your. I also, obviously, everyone has different ways to play this, but personally, I would also probably not play it or not reveal to anyone that I had it, unless I was just very failing miserably socially and really needed to build a connection. But I'm fairly confident in my social abilities to be able to make connections without having to have the crutch of an extra vote. Although it definitely has the perk of being able to be like, look at this. This is showing you how much I trust you. I'm revealing you I have this. Please work with me.
Mhm.
Yes, yes. Which, by the way,
And
for yeah, sorry, yeah, you go first, real quick.
And yes, and the reason why I also revealed to Kuoki about the two idols was because at that point I was basically being targeted by everyone except for Kuoki. So I was like, I'm just going to tell them because we're going to use these together and hopefully make it as far as we can. And it allowed me to make it to Final Five. So I guess that would also be another instance if I felt like I was being targeted. I would go and talk to my closest allies, not to the people that I knew were either targeting me or targeting my allies.
Yes. And did you use both idols to save yourself both times, or did you use them to save like Quokey?
So Final Seven, Quokey used their steal a vote so that Lips went home, and then Final Six, I used one of my idols on me and one of my idols on Quokey, but it wasn't really needed because at that point people knew there were still two idols in the game, and they kind of assumed it was me who had the idols because I was one of two people from the original tribe that the idol would have been on, and they knew Caleb didn't have it. So they're like, Kira probably has that, and they knew another idol was in the game, but they didn't know that that was mine. So they didn't want to target me, but because it expired at Final Six anyways, I was like, well, might as well play these just to protect us just in case. So
Yes, and that's obviously a lot of just advantage strategy, which we can talk all about strategy, what we would do, but it's so different whenever you're actually playing and are thinking, oh my gosh, I need to make the connection with this person, etc., etc. It changes what you actually are wanting to do with the advantages, how you want to play them based on what you are actually experiencing in the game. But yes, right now we can move on to the next topic. But before, just so Kira's aware and everyone else is aware, Aiden has disconnected. His Wi-Fi has gone out. So for maybe the rest of this episode, we'll see if he joins back. It's just gonna be me and Kira for now. Yeah. Yes. So next topic is Kira. So I asked everyone this, but who are your standout, just your favorite players that are in the season so far?
I will definitely have to go with Pom Pom just because I feel like they are playing a game in the sense that they're winning at challenges that they need to, but they're also keeping their social ability in the fact that they're trying not to show that they're too sociable, but they're still talking to the people that they need to. But so far, that's really one of the only people that I can really see stands out so much, which is really funny because Pom Pom and I have actually played together in another org, and I was one of the ones to get them out. And then so I never really got to see their playing style until this time around, and I'm very happy that I'm able to see their playing style, and I'm hoping that they can go far.
Yes, I know Aiden's a big fan of Pom Pom, and I'm warming up to Pom Pom. I'm liking them more and more. And one funny moment between you and Pom Pom, which I know I already talked to you about this, but I'll talk to everyone else so they know it. Because so you are Pom Pom's confessional buddy, right?
Yes, I am.
Yes. So then you and Pom Pom is asking you for advice. You obviously can't give too much, but you said just follow your heart. And then what I found funny is not more than maybe 5 minutes afterwards, after talking with Nate for a bit, Nate immediately goes and says, wow, Pom Pom is really following his heart. It really shows that they are a player that's really with their emotions and they really care. And I just thought that was great. I wanted to share that.
Yep, and then I responded with, it seems like Pom Pom is summoning their inner Kira, like I told them to do with following their heart.
Yes, just a very funny moment that I enjoyed. So, but do you have any final topics that you would like to talk about before we wrap this up?
Nothing that I can really think of, but I'm really hoping that once merge comes, that people will begin to pick it up with some of their moves, and I'm hoping that we can definitely see strategy playing out some more with some people, and I'm really excited for it.
Yes, and I think on the jumping off of that, I think the gameplay in this game has been steadily improving, because if we look back at episode 1, there wasn't a lot happening, but now getting further along the season, closer to the past the swap and now closer to merge, I can definitely see where the gameplay has improved from episode 1 to now episode 5. So there's definitely improvement there, but there's definitely still a lot to be done.
Yes, definitely so. But I am definitely excited to see where this goes and excited to see more of the different god and goddesses' advantages and what will happen there.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you a lot for joining me on this episode of the podcast. But this is unfortunately all for it. So if you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe so that we know you enjoy them, and make sure to tune in next time. So long, farewell. I'll see you soon again.